baby.
All right. Welcome back, guys. We are Chemist Confessions. My name is Victoria.
And I'm Gloria.
And this podcast is just a human conversation about all the skincare science we talk about. This is episode 4 of season 3. And what is this episode about, Gloria?
Ooh, I'm excited about this. It's starting to get warmer. You can't tell because we're both wearing sweaters, but it really is. And we're starting to see like spring, summer launches coming out. So
The strength of the sun is really coming through.
So all the new antioxidants, new sunscreens. So this episode is an update on antioxidants.
Yep. But before that, we have a little bit of a brand update.
Wait. Before that, what are we drinking?
You're right. More importantly, what are we drinking? Today I am drinking the Sublimely Self-Righteous IPA. This is not symbolic of anything.
No. Last week was salty. This week was self-righteous.
So, yeah. Anyways, Gloria, what about you?
I am drinking sake.
Straight from the bottle.
Courtesy of my friend Christine. It is delicious. Goes down really easy. I will not be drinking straight from the bottle. I have it poured in a little cup.
So into a cup and straight out of the bottle.
Correct.
Yep. Today is Friday, so hope you guys had a great end of the week. And now we'll get into the brand update.
Yay!
All right. So probably the best news ever is that things are finally back in stock.
Yes.
And by things, we mean Mr. Reliable.
Yep. We're recording this on March 11th on Friday. It is the day that Mr. Reliable is finally back in stock.
Yeah. We've said this before in the previous episode, but it's been quite a challenge, and definitely it feels like a huge feat and a great win on this Friday. So to celebrate all of that, just wanted to do a little montage of nice words about Mr. Reliable.
All right.
Yeah, so first things first.
The title is Game Changer. Love this lotion. First winter without dry patches. And I have reordered so many times.
Yay! Good start.
So, funny story about this Mr. Reliable coming back in stock is we're starting to notice that Mr. Reliable fans do not trust us in keeping this in stock because we have people buy, 2 I get because that meets a free shipping threshold. We have so many orders where they stock up 4 Mr. Reliables.
Feels like, Costco mentality with Mr. Reliable. We're not complaining. I also totally understand given how long it's been out of stock. So thank you guys. And we're so sorry for taking so long.
Yep.
That we're having hoarding mentality. All right. Second review. The title is Mr. in all caps Reliable. She writes, love this moisturizer. This is my 3rd bottle. It's light, thin, and doesn't leave your skin greasy. I have mature skin, and this layers nicely on top of my other Korean products. A++.
Woo!
2 pluses, so that would make Asian parents happy, like my mom and dad.
Look, Mom, look at me.
2 pluses.
Getting A's after graduation.
Yeah, so we should probably talk about, for those who don't know what Mr. Reliable is, this is our gel cream all-in-one moisturizer. We take the best parts of the other, what we call moisturizer tools, Aquafix, the water stuff, Better Oil, the oil stuff, and then Balm Voyage, the occlusives, the butters and waxes. And we put that you're right. And we put that into a light gel cream. So.
Yep. And the whole idea is, the funny story is, Mr. Reliable was actually the last product we decided to make out of the moisturizer line.
Sure did.
It was a very casual conversation of like, hey, Gloria, you think people need a moisturizer? I'm like, you're right. They do need a moisturizer.
Yeah, it was like, so if people are lost and they don't have a moisturizer, what do we do? What do we suggest?
A moisturizer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the whole idea is that very, very basic, staple, reliable piece in your routine that you don't have to think a lot about. So other than all the things Victoria just mentioned, a light balance of the water, the oil, and a little bit of occlusive, we also think that for a reliable everyday moisturizer, you also need some soothing ingredients and also ceramides, fatty acids, and
Yeah.
cholesterol to kind of bolster your skin barrier.
Keep that barrier happy. Yep. So hopefully that gives you a little preview. The texture is really just a light gel cream that oily skin types would be happy to have as a one and done. And then for drier skin types like Gloria, she'll pair it with like a face oil. So yeah, all right. And then last review from Mr. Reliable that I want to share, which it just made me chuckle. The title is, in all caps, "What is this?" And she writes, "Why is this so good? How is it so lightweight, but also moisturizing for a long time?" Those are all great questions. To be honest, I never leave product reviews, but this one was so good that I had to. The texture is gorgeous, spreads easily, and coats the skin beautifully. My mom even told me on FaceTime that my skin looked good after I used this. Yes. Please make a jumbo-sized version of this or a bigger version, please. I love it so much. Need it in my life every day.
We're working.
Yeah.
Stop.
Actually, we should follow up because there's a few of you that asked if this is the Gen 2.
Yes. No, it is
This
not.
is not. This is the original formula. We are aiming to have Gen 2 come back in the summer. Again, it's working on sizing up and then also just finishing touches on the texture. So look for more news soon.
Yes. We're very excited about that one. I mean, I feel like we baited podcast listeners for like a whole year last year. And we're like, haha, Gen 1 again. But the reality is Mr. Reliable is so loved by the community. We really want to make sure that we take...
It scared us.
Yes.
Like, how loved.
Yes, we had existential questions, so we have to take all the learnings we have from the hatchery and what is love about the original formula and really just like take our time putting the bells and whistles on it.
For sure. All right, Gloria, one last note. Give us an update on Balm Voyage.
Again, we're recording this as of Friday, March 11th. I am really hoping by the time this episode comes out, the balm will be already in stock. We're working hard at bringing it back ASAP. We are expecting it probably end of next week. So yes, it's coming, guys. Stay tuned.
Hopefully by the time this podcast does come out, you will see an update in the description. So hang in there. Almost there. All right. So that's over and done with. It's time to move on to a little bit of news.
The news! Woo!
All right, I can't wait. It's time to update our bingo cards. So if any of you have done the celebrity skincare bingo card with us, there is some news. I would like to share that Idris Elba and his wife Sabrina have come out with a skincare line, and the brand name is called Saable Labs. It's S with an apostrophe, Able Labs. So
maybe it's just a pause. It's like
Able Labs. Yeah. So the description of the brand is that this is a new line which is gender neutral that prioritizes ethical supply chain and reducing the use of toxic ingredients and unnecessary packaging.
Okay, first of all, I was kind of like, damn, I definitely didn't have him in my celebrity bingo.
Yeah.
And then secondly, when Victoria read me a description, my first thought was like, oh, Mr. Elba, I have a question.
Yes. Girl in the back, yeah.
You said you're reducing the use of toxic ingredients. So which toxic ingredient are you minimally sprinkling in your products?
Which one are you cutting back on? Could you let us know?
It's such a stupid, asshole-ish thing to notice about the wording, but anyway.
So you've probably listened to us for a long time. You understand our feelings on this, but probably just want to reiterate again. I'd say there's a very, very, very slim chance that your product would even have a minute amount of a toxic ingredient. So just
topically toxic ingredient.
Yeah. So just want to, reinforce that, make you guys feel no need to worry. Yeah.
I am curious about how the execution on unnecessary packaging reduction.
I also worried about that too.
Yeah.
Because that means, something protective is leaving. What does that mean for when it arrives on your doorstep or when it arrives on shelf?
You have 6 months to use it. If you don't use it, your packaging is going to disintegrate and poof.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess we'll find out. But that's not all.
More?
So we finally have some concrete news on ScarJo's line. Her skincare line is going to be called, or actually has already launched and is called The Outset.
Oh, it launched.
It has launched.
I have to say, my first thought when seeing her packaging, my mind looks a lot like Aquafix.
Yep, it's got the baton cylinder white cap look.
And I was just like, oh my god, our aesthetic's the same as ScarJo.
I like that. Yes, we can do something right with design. So in her lineup, she's got 5 products. One of them is a restorative niacinamide night cream.
Cool.
Yay. There's a nourishing squalane daily moisturizer. Yay. And they also do have an eye cream, smoothing vitamin C eye plus expression line cream.
We should get like a tiny drum or a tiny cloud, which is like.
There's also a firming vegan collagen prep serum. So cool. And a gentle micellar antioxidant cleanser.
Cool.
So, anyways, yeah, I think probably when I was looking into this, the most interesting thing was there has actually been a BuzzFeed article that has come out discussing the backlash of these newly launched celeb beauty
interesting
brands. So it's very clear that everyone's sentiments are being heard on social media and Twitter. As these launches come out, people are like, can we please stop launching new celebrity brands, especially in skincare? Why does this happen in skincare? So yeah, I think it's great because then it'll stop irresponsibly launching things.
I will say, even though that might mean I will never get a bingo this year, I am okay with that.
We're okay with that.
Yeah.
We can find other news to talk about. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's it on the celebrity side.
Whew, oh, great.
All right, so I have something more of a show and tell with Gloria.
I love this. This is my favorite find of the week.
I happen to be browsing products that just anything interesting to share. And I have found what I believe to be the most expensive cream out there on the market right now. This is a cream by the brand Décolleté, which I believe is how you say that. The cream is $5,000.
You heard correctly, and that is in USD, not Korean won.
So this is actually a collaboration with a crystal company called Baccarat. The cream itself, we're going to show a picture here, comes in its very own 100% crystal chalice.
It's not an exaggeration. It's literally a chalice.
Yeah. So, I am just astounded at what you can, like the PD and projects that you can have in skincare. This definitely takes the cake. It's got this medieval crystal vibe with a giant red jewel as a handle, and then as you open it is your skincare cream jar.
It just shoots out of the straw like, oh my god, I am an angel for your face.
So a couple what I thought was funny notes is it'll tell you like what is included in your $5,000 purchase. So you get a Baccarat crystal stand and cover that they say is 100% crystal, and then they say it comes with a spatula made of user-friendly plastic.
That doesn't sound $5,000 worth it.
Excuse me.
Hello, Mr. Elba, I have a question. Oh wait, that's not your product. I'm sorry.
couldn't you like, why plastic? Is there anything else out there I could have used with my $5,000?
Oh, you used it all on the crystal? Got it.
And then it also comes with 2 of their they call it AQ Meliority. I can't even say it.
I keep wanting to say mediocrity, which is definitely not $5,000.
Yeah, Meliority Intensive Regenerating Multi-Cream. If you go down to the ingredients, the general description says double peptides, which improve overall texture and tone, a trio of powerhouse botanicals, optimize rejuvenation.
The end.
Cool.
My favorite line on this product page is refills not sold separately. So if you want more of this cream, you gotta stack up on them chalices.
Yeah, so anyways, that definitely takes the cake on the Price is Right for us. So if you want, there could not be a bigger flex than having a crystal chalice for your skincare cream.
You guys will know that Chemist Confessions have made it when we record this podcast, each with crystal chalice in
For our
there.
drinks.
For our drinks. And we'll be like, oh, the cream? Oh, yeah, we finished it. Use it on the butt cheeks.
Oh, God. All right. So that's not all. You've got some other interesting launches. The first one I think is great. Gloria found this one. It comes from Foreo.
Yeah, I did a double take when I saw this. Foreo is a brand that's probably most well known for their the silicone cleansing brush. They're probably the brand that arguably popularized the cleansing brush, but probably did a shit job patenting it or protecting the design, because then you soon see designs that's like, whatever size, shape, direction you like your silicone brush, someone's made it. But anyway, since then, Foreo's launched a lot of different devices here and there, and they have a new launch which I did not see coming, which is a home mix yourself mask set.
Yep. So basically, they provide simply a mask base in a tube. So it is an actual formula. And then what they would like you to do is to use that, mix whatever vegetables you have in your fridge, mash it up, and put it on your face as a mask. It's a DIY mask kit.
Yes. And I think they also have their own enhancement powders if you don't want to reach into your pantry.
Yeah. So if you look at the kit, they plan to have a Foreo Imagination kit come out. It's going to provide actually, no joke, a mortar and pestle for you to like mix everything together. And in the instructions, they show like a slice of cucumber being dropped into the mortar and pestle, and mash away, mix away.
I feel like the concept itself, like if I don't look at the word Foreo, I feel like that's probably I see it. I can see a trendy like hipster natural brand doing this, and I saw Foreo. I'm like, who are you? What are you about?
You're like, so I have a question.
Mr. Elmo. Mr. Elmo.
We're not Foreo.
Yeah.
So what happened to the devices?
Yeah, you figure it's too expensive to make devices.
Yeah. So anyways, really interesting launch. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. As far as like home care kits, like self-care, I'm not offended by the concept.
Yeah, for sure.
A little gimmicky, but can be fun. And again, like who doesn't like a little bit of me time? But just, again, kind of weird.
Yep. All right. And then finally, we have a really interesting launch from Skinceuticals.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that they were coming out with this, but I saw it. We're like, we have to talk about it on the podcast. Do a quick decode for everyone. It's an extension of their Phyto Plus line, and Skinceuticals doesn't typically color code their line, but Phyto is the only one that they do. It's all in green. Radioactive green. It's their soothing line. They have a gel, they have a mask, which I happen to really like, and their latest Phyto Plus Brightening has a very interesting list of active ingredients. So it has 2% alpha-arbutin, 3% azelaic acid, and the 5 undisclosed amount of niacinamide, but it's sitting around the same neighborhood as azelaic acid, so I would guess around the 2-3% mark as well. And 5.75% phytobotanical blend, which is actually just signature to their Phyto Plus line.
Yep.
What I find really interesting is, first of all, 2% alpha-arbutin is fairly common, but not so much formulated in combination with other ingredients such as azelaic acid. You've heard us talk about azelaic acid in the previous episode. Oh wow, yes. And we mentioned that it's usually tested at 20%, 10%. So I think this is such an interesting product to highlight because even though they use it at a much lower percentage of azelaic than previously tested concentration, they blend it with these other actives, and because it's Skinceuticals, they still put it through a clinical test to show that, hey, this combo does soothe skin and brighten complexion. We'll have some of their clinical pictures up here. So yeah,
I was gonna say, the clinical pictures look great. I think that this to me felt like a no-brainer as like a secondary supplement to whatever like workhorse hyperpigmentation product you're using currently. When I saw this launch, I was thinking, oh, this must be an extension of Skinceutical's discoloration serum, just because there's not that much overlap with that serum product.
Yes.
The only thing is a niacinamide. It is not claimed, and I know that there's 5% niacinamide in the discoloration serum.
Yes.
So just something to keep in mind as you're, if you're going to add this to your routine. But all in all, I think it's great. And I just wanted to clarify, Gloria pointed out the azelaic acid, and I can confirm that this is not the azelaic acid derivative, the potassium azelloyl diglycinate. So this is actually azelaic acid.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to add is Victoria made a great point. I just thought of this. This can actually pair really well with your high level of exfoliants.
Yeah.
This doesn't have any AHAs in it. So if, let's say you already have exfoliation routine and you want to just give that brightening a bit of a boost, this probably wouldn't tackle any hardcore hyperpigmentation, but can be a great supplement to your routine.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the news.
That's the news.
Again, it's been a slow news cycle.
Yeah.
I feel like hasn't been that much going on, but I really feel like summer we're gonna start seeing a lot of new launches. Speaking of new launches, what better way to go into the meat? Because it's definitely there's gonna be a focus in antioxidants.
Yes. So the meat part 1.
The meats.
All right. Well, last episode we called the scrap meats, and today when we decided that we're gonna talk about antioxidants, I'm like, this is like the haggis episode.
And what is haggis, Gloria?
For those of you who don't know, haggis is a Scottish delicacy. It is a lot of stuffed into a sheep's stomach and then boiled, essentially.
Sorry, vegan listeners.
Yes. And stuff includes stuff. Literally, there's basically scrap meat parts, and it usually involves like innards from sheep, and then
Don't look that great.
yeah, it honestly doesn't. And then I recently found out that in Scotland you can buy it in a can.
Ooh.
So it looks like it's almost like pudding-esque. Like the actual haggis is you see a round sack of that's a sheep's stomach, and you cut it open, and it's kind of like it's like stuffed. It's like pudding and stuff comes out. But in a can, it just looks like it looks a little bit like dog food, not in the most flattering way. But apparently it's delicious because they use a lot of different spices.
Noted, we will never be sponsored by haggis.
Yes.
Or canned haggis.
Yep. The reason why we're going to call this a haggis episode is when it comes to antioxidant, there's a lot of mix of like chopped up mystery. It's just stuff.
Yep.
It is a very important topic. There's a lot of science in it, but in a lot of ways, like the ways it's been talked about, the way it's been marketed, it sometimes feels like a really bullshitty cure-all, right?
I think that it's just for marketing, it's just obscure enough that you can get away with a lot of there's freedom to inject sexy terminology.
Yeah.
But then the science itself is trying to do the right thing, but then inject all the marketing, and then suddenly the whole world is a mess.
Yeah, and this is definitely the category where you'll hear the story of yes, the first dew water off of the precious leaf of...
It really is. This is one of the biggest culprits of that, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. In this episode, in the meat part 1, we're gonna go through some of the science behind antioxidants. I know that there's it's a bit over the place.
Yep.
But before we dive into it, I did want to point out that we did already do an antioxidant episode back in episode 23.
So y'all have heard this rant before.
But now it's enhanced. It's better. It's bigger. It's rantier.
So we should remind you that if you are looking for ECGC, pycnogenol, lipoic acid, CoQ10, please revisit that episode. We're going to post the link down below. It's episode 23. This is actually just to further expand upon antioxidant studies, what that means for launches that are coming up, and hopefully give you some tips and tricks on how to decode and how to discern what might actually be helpful and what might be not so helpful.
Yeah. So first things first, what is an antioxidant and why do we care? And long story short, to kind of like simple it all down, the point of an antioxidant is to quench free radicals.
And
I'm like staring into Victoria's soul.
I should have seen that coming. All right. Free radicals, often referred to, you might hear of as ROS, or reactive oxygen species. These arise in skin when your skin undergoes things like a lot of sun. And so the reason why these are so feared for us in skin and skin aging is that it's quite volatile. It can interact with a lot of our main, very important cellular components like mitochondria, DNA, and the reason why is because it's missing an electron.
It's very, very sad.
It's very sad. We'll include a comic here to showcase why. And so when it's missing, it's got its lone electrons looking to pair up, and so it tries to find a place, and that's how it's just so disruptive to, like I said, mitochondria, DNA, even the cell nuclei. So with that, that's where antioxidants come in, because the idea is that it will go in and it will quench these ROS, and then all things are stable again.
Yes. So that's the idea of antioxidant, but the reason why it feels like a relatively simple concept, but part of the reason why this is such a difficult category for us to dissect is it's just really, really big.
Yeah.
There's so many things, like literally anything feels like an antioxidant nowadays. Just to highlight how vast this category is, you'll often hear about things like, like blueberries, like chocolate, like these, or plant extracts. These things are antioxidants. But as we mentioned on this podcast a few times, within these extracts, there are individual components. So then you have scientists also looking at isolated components like gallic acid, quercetin, and you have things like, you'll hear things like flavonoid rich. These are all different little individual compounds that scientists are still deciphering and figuring out. And sometimes you'll find papers testing the whole extract. Other times you'll find papers looking at individual compounds. So it's just exponentially wild.
Yep. And the problem with that is as they look at these isolated compounds, again, you have a lot of noise coming in from outside industry that are touting like the latest and greatest new supplement and extract. And I wanted to share with you guys like how crazy it can get. So these are some of the things that are claimed as antioxidants. And I can confirm that some of these are actually extracts that can be used in skincare formulation. So you have things like sage, rosemary, ginseng, artichoke, vinegar, and even hops. They can be claimed as antioxidants. So
this is really for health reasons.
Yeah, it's the only reason why I drink this.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So anyways, that should give you an idea of just like, to look at it as on an analytical level, but then you have to fight through all of the noise from the actual industry. And
hot mess.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Let's bring it down to what that means for skincare.
Yeah, so first of all, it takes a lot to test and validate an antioxidant. Now, on a very, very, very basic level, you test it in vitro or in test tubes. And there are these things called assays where basically, as Victoria mentioned, they throw them at some ROS, and there are different species of ROS.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into
terrifying.
That. But basically, there's a few different tests in vitro where they put them in with these different species, or you generate these species, and see how the antioxidant do. Like, see if these species decline in the presence of these ingredients. And if it does, they're like, huzzah, you're an antioxidant. I love the antioxidant. And a lot of marketers will be like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Enough. They're
I'm
like,
going to put it in cream. Go,
It's
go, go,
good to
go, go.
Yeah. And honestly, like, if you haven't listened to us rant about testing before, that's not how this stuff works. It's not how you can claim that it's actually helpful for skin.
Yeah. So, and we want to highlight, this is a good time to call out that most antioxidant studies are actually done in oral injections, in supplement form, or just in diet studies. And a lot of times people will be like, oh my God, it's been tested on humans. Go, 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 put in a cream.
Yeah.
But that's also not how that works.
Yes, exactly. It's a completely different mechanism. So we need to know, how does the antioxidant, the claimed quote-unquote antioxidant, work via skin? So
yeah. So this leads us to testing on skin, where it's also a little wild. The thing is, there's a lot of really interesting studies that could be done. There isn't necessarily one golden standard.
Yes.
I want to highlight a few interesting ones who came along. I mean, honestly, it ranges so far and wide in between. There's studies done on punch biopsy skin. There are studies done on banana peels. And
that one's my favorite because
really
it looks
cute.
like a banana massacre.
It's like, oh no, that didn't work. The banana's now black.
And if you're wondering how that works, what they do is they simply apply, as you know, if you leave a banana peel out, it will slowly turn brown. So what they do is they simply apply the topical solution on the banana peel and just see if it can prevent the browning from occurring, or just draw out that time. So yeah, anyways, bananas, who would have thought?
Fun fact. I did find a few interesting studies I really want to highlight.
Yes.
There's one study done by a group of scientists, and one of the doctors on the study is Dr. Pinnell, who is the founder of Skinceuticals.
The grandfather of ascorbic acid.
Yes. He has done it again, back with another ascorbic acid test. They extracted skin cells like fibroblasts from 2 different age groups. One, super young newborn kids at 3 to 8 days old.
Thank you for donating your fibroblasts to us.
Yes. And skin cells from the elderly, 78 to 93-year-old.
Also, thank you for donating your fibroblasts to science.
Yes. And they put them in a culture, and the skin cells kind of proliferate and grow over time. It's probably to no one's surprise that the newborn skin cells divide much, much, much quicker than the elderly. But what's interesting is in the presence of ascorbic acid, and we'll show the charts here. It's a little hard to see, but in the elderly cells, you can compare to the newborn cells. You'll see that it's much slower than the newborn. But in the presence of vitamin C, they proliferate much faster than without. So it's kind of a cool way to show how important vitamin C is to your skin cells.
Now, just remember, this is in vitro. So, again, like, you have to we look at vitamin C data, the robustness of it, how many numerous of tests, both in vitro, in vivo, in clinicals. So this only adds another piece, and I think it just further, I would say, suggests that ascorbic acid is a great preventative step for aging.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and some of our favorite in vivo studies done on live human subject is what we consider accelerated damage studies. So one way to do this is with UV-induced erythema. You can apply a controlled dose of UV light to patches of skin,
Basically causing sunburns.
Yes. And you can see whether or not with topical antioxidants that degree of burn is reduced.
This is what's used to justify ascorbic acid and how it can be a great AOX in pairing with sunscreen. It's also why we always promote having vitamin C in your routine.
Yes. Yeah. And it's also been looked at in a similar type of study where the offending person is not UV light anymore. They have similar type of study with diesel exhaust.
Yes,
and also cigarette smoke to simulate pollution and other things that cause ROS in the skin.
And if you're wondering how that works, usually they have little chambers. Well, they'll put your arm essentially in a concentrated dose of exhaust or cigarette smoke. and then see and measure the amount of inflammation that occurs. So
yeah. And what's interesting sometimes, like, also, it's so, if you have a high enough dose, it's so bad you will tan or have hyperpigmentation from it. It's pretty bad. But when that these kind of tests give us a pretty good idea that it works against the ROS generated by these offending species, I guess.
Yeah. I actually, that kind of brings up a can of worms, because you can do these tests to give you an idea of topical performance, but when it comes to start claiming performance for products and doing clinicals, I feel like it can get really murky, because now you have brands that are starting to look for things like pigmentation, but then the mechanism is a little bit different. And so I feel like it kind of muddies the water. And I think you'll see as we continue to talk about this, how that can get really confusing.
Yeah, I mean, a simple example is going back to the vitamin C example. Yeah. If you do a clinical study at 12 weeks, you'll see that vitamin C brightens the skin. Yeah. But is it because it's working as a preventive antioxidant? It's kind of hard to tell. And when it comes to other antioxidants, let's say you did one of these accelerated damage studies, it's hard to say whether or not you'll see any changes to your skin in 12 weeks, because these accelerated studies is showcasing, like damage that you might accumulate over a whole year, concentrated into a week. So you might not see anything in a 12-week study.
And I think it's part of the realm, because at the end of the day, what are antioxidants supposed to do? They're supposed to prolong and prevent, or I guess slow down, the aging process. And that takes years, and no one has time or the money to study that. So that's why we do have to get a little creative with these studies, and they're really just not, we can't say they're one-to-one comparisons of actual antioxidant performance.
Yeah, so again, this is why this whole category is a bit of a leap of faith. So where do antioxidants come from in your skincare? A lot of it does come from food, like food trends. If it catches on, if it's a superfood, you bet someone's tried to put that kale in the cream before.
Artichokes.
Oh, God.
Artichoke dip to the face.
Yeah. So, you have stuff like vitamin C, grape stuff, tea stuff, and right now we see mushroom stuff.
So much mushroom stuff.
And just know that even if some of these categories, and this is not what this episode is about, so we will not dive into their merits.
We only got 1 hour, Gloria.
Yep. But just know that just because it works as an oral supplement does not mean it will work topically. And there are so many ingredients that people have tried to make happen or transition from supplement to topical. It just hasn't happened. So our Team Fetch Award, a reference that some of you might not get, I have to hand it to astaxanthin and quercetin. I feel like I've seen it at so many trade shows for the past 5 years.
It's always lingering around in, I would say, antioxidant descriptions. You'll see them reference these two for sure.
Yeah, and then it's stuff like, did you know it's 6,000 times more powerful than vitamin C? And I caught this quote in one of the studies I looked at quercetin that I have to highlight here because it links right into our next rant.
Oh, God.
It goes, the flavonoid quercetin shows excellent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and it is proposed for the prevention and treatment of various skin conditions such as melanoma. Very bold claim. However, its low solubility and instability hinders its formulation. Triggered!
That's so surprising for the antioxidant category.
Yes! And so to wrap up me part 1, we have to go on rant about, oh my God, antioxidant and no likey water and no likey oil, no likey oxygen, no likey sunlight. What do you do with that?
Oh yeah, we're not speaking from experience of having to work with these things at all. No. Yes, I would say biggest active category with the most fussiest of ingredients has to be this category for sure. Incredibly sensitive, just packaging nightmares. Yeah, temperature, it's not great. Great.
And to sum up, again, this is what ascorbic acid is king. You'll hear us talk about, I feel like we've all seen that hot dog water turn brown on you before. So people know that it's a fussy, difficult ingredient to work with. But
that's already good.
Yeah, but at least we understand the parameters and we've worked with it so that's stable enough. So, yeah.
And I mean, we, again, definitely check back to episode 23. We talk about the issues with ubiquinone and EGCG. Same thing, you know, it's a lot of notations of the fact that it just doesn't do well in formulation and doesn't seem to be cut out for a long shelf life. And that's really our problem. And that's why the chemists exist, to solve these problems.
Or to rant about it over a couple of things. So, this basically concludes me part 1. And to kind of give you guys a preview, this rant is totally not inspired by the fact that Mr. Reliable Gen 2 will have silymarin, which is a very, very, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
No, she's absolutely right.
It's part of the reason why it's delayed, by the way.
Yeah, we've been trying to do it right and be some fussy people in that formula.
Yep. We'll talk about it more when we're closer to launching it.
Yeah.
But that's me, part 1. Thank you
right.
for sticking with us. It was a lot of chemist fuss and rant, but hopefully it was interesting.
Yep.
Let's dive right into the claims.
Let's bring out the claims corner.
Claims corner!
All right. So if you don't know what the claims corner is, this is where we share about an interesting claim that makes us raise our eyebrows.
And have a chuckle a little.
All right. Take it away, Gloria.
This was a user submission. Not user submission. This was submitted by my friend Erica.
Thank you, Erica. This was wonderful.
Yes. It's a company called Byro.
And roe with R-O-E. And if you are now thinking about salmon roe, you are absolutely correct.
Yes. So this whole brand, the ethos is skincare infused by salad. Salad.
Correctly. That's right. Your Trader Joe's salad, your Caesars, your chicken, your
tofu.
Chinese chicken salad. Yep, all of that.
Yeah, I think I read a founder story where she was straight up like, I was eating a salad and I was like, salad's so healthy, why not on face? I might be paraphrasing a little bit here, but that was my takeaway.
That is not what she wrote, because that just means we're doing it wrong, Gloria. We're going about all of this all wrong.
Oh my god, hop's so delicious, why not on face? Also antioxidant.
I use my beer as toner.
Wow.
All right.
But yes, they have this line of products have names like salmon cream, tofu cream, and the works. And it's actually a pretty premium pricing. The salmon cream is $120 and the tofu cream is $85. But the one I really, really want to decode is their $150 tomato serum.
Is it red?
I think the packaging is. I don't think the product is red.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So the claimed ingredients are tomato,
okay,
ceramides, ascorbic acid, which point I'm like, why yes, that's the gold standard vitamin C. Very cool.
Okay.
Peptides.
Okay.
So we looked at the ingredient list, posted here.
It's a fat one.
It's really long, and it took me, I kid you not, a good 3 minutes to find ascorbic acid. I was like, water, glycerin's a hydrator, methylpropane diohydrator, pentylene glycohydrator, glucam 20 hydrator,
and a lot of extracts.
Yeah. I couldn't even find the tomato. And I had to squint a few times, and I got to the ascorbic acid. And I realized it's 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid. And they have ascorbic acid, but it's all at the end.
Which is not great. Also, I would like to use this as an example that it also has artichoke leaf extract. That is actually the theme of this episode, is artichoke.
Yeah. I actually also have cabbage extract, tomato extract, turnip extract. So
it's a salad.
They are not shitting you when they said salad for face.
And you guys definitely have to check it out. Honestly, the website ads and visuals that they use, it's really skincare in a salad bar, which is fascinating. And then, you know, they talk about building your kits, and the lingo they use is build your own salad bowl, but they mean like salad bowl of skincare. So they're really, you know, like leaning into this terminology. Definitely. I mean, hey, we're talking about it now, so I guess the marketing works.
Yeah, so check it out. I had a good chuckle. I would say $150. You can almost buy the original CE ferulic formula.
Yeah.
So I definitely would not spend money on this tomato serum. So,
yeah. So anyways, that's the claims corner. Salad for your skin. All right. And with that, it's time to get into the last part of the meat, where we're going to focus on some products, the juicy part.
Part of the reason why we decided to do this is because we see a lot of new antioxidants. And when we first started working on this episode, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just be more product focused, since we briefly talked about antioxidants before. But then the more I looked into, the more I'm like, new launches are all vitamin C. I don't want to do another vitamin C episode.
But it's because they know there is data in the vitamin C world.
Yes.
Even the derivatives, which is cool.
Yeah. So I do think most of the new launches with vitamin C are on the derivatives. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of an interesting marketplace right now.
For sure.
But it's still pretty wild. I have decided to give 2 products the Punt Award. It is exactly as it sounds. If I have the products, I would probably just punt it.
All right. So candidate number 1.
Sephora's version of vitamin CE. It's called Super Serum Ultra Glow Serum, and it has the artwork has C and E on it. So basically, it's positioned as a direct challenger to any other CEs on the market. But again, I looked at the ingredients, and I looked at it some more, and I looked at it again, and I'm like, well, where's my ascorbic acid or ascorbyl anything?
It's not great. So you get a lot of extracts, a lot of citrus extracts like lemon. There's also sugar maple extract. There's panthenol and sunflower seed oil. And then right at the very bottom, you will find ascorbyl glucoside.
Right next to your vitamin tocopherol.
Yeah.
To sum up, no matter what form of vitamin C you use, the effective level is typically
actually more.
Always at above 1%.
Yeah.
Having it at the end, it's guaranteed it's under 1%. So
I was going to say it also doesn't bode well when your packaging is completely clear.
Yeah.
Generally, like we said, most antioxidants are pretty fussy. And so it's not great.
It's cheap. It's $20, but I would still pump that $20 into the trash can.
And to be fair, there are dupes of vitamin C of CE ferulic that are that same price point. Yeah. So it's pretty brutal. I would say that's a rough one. It's not very hard to save. All right.
Usually on this podcast, we take a more gentle approach to products. Like, we poke fun at stuff. We try to find silver linings. We highlight some of the good work people have done. But that one is like a full punt.
I think also because the vitamin C space is so crowded, and now you have like affordable dupes coming out that kind of the blueprint is there. So to come out with a product that really doesn't, it's not a dupe, it doesn't really push the boundaries in any way, it's not really that much more affordable, then it's like, help? Anybody? Help?
Help us, help you.
Yeah. All right, okay. And candidate number 2.
The Body Shop has a vitamin C glow boosting moisturizer.
All right, hit me.
Here's the thing, and I share this feeling between both of these products, which is if you just call it a moisturizer or a hydrating serum, I wouldn't be that offended.
Okay.
Even if you put vitamin C in a much smaller print, like vitamin C infused moisture, whatever, not that offended. But these are like bold, big letters that's like, this is a vitamin C product. But if you look at this ingredient list, you have water, solvent. Oh, and they kindly label all the ingredients. As, you have glycerin, propane diol, yada yada, thickener. Oh, I see fragrance.
Then you get all the way down, and you see THD ascorbate.
chilling at the bottom of the barrel.
Next to disodium EDTA.
Which you will not use above 0.1% in this type of formulas. Maybe 0.5%.
Yeah. So with that, and again, like we said, another reminder that THC ascorbate's oil-based. You definitely need a lot more than 1%. And again, this category, I feel like now consumers are probably the most aware of, and I feel like there is a need to do better.
Yeah, there's no excuse here.
So we would see this more as a very, very light moisturizer. And that's it.
Yeah, it's a very basic moisturizer. Again, if you just call it orange moisturizer, I would not be offended, but it's just not. Again, guys, if you guys use these products and love the texture, it works well for you as a hydrator and whatnot, that's all fine. Just know that if you are looking for something to seriously act as a long-term antioxidant help, these aren't it. Okay. So we're going to turn the flame off and now talk about products that actually are decent. Yeah, we see 2 new launches that's also in the vitamin C derivative space. First off, we have Herbivore's Nova.
I have to say, I'm so proud of Gloria for not flaming this brand.
I'm trying.
She is growing.
I'm trying. I want to be good, guys.
But no, we should really say it's like, as much as we have definitely probably called out Herbivore a couple times in our lives, but great to see. We are very fair in that it's, again, every brand, it's truly product based. When you ask us, is a brand good or not, it always comes down to products. So, yep, here we go. Take it away. New launch.
Yeah, this one has 15% THD ascorbate.
See, significant amount.
And you will see it as a second place on the ingredient list, and that's a good sign. I am very lukewarm about the bright neon yellow color, but that be what it be.
It's Herbivore. It's got to be bright.
I am a little bit concerned about the fact that it is in a clear packaging. Yeah. THC ascorbate is a much more stable vitamin C, but I wouldn't call it an ultra vitamin stable vitamin C as they call it. It still has
its quirks.
It still has its quirks, and it's not fully stable. So I would definitely, it's in clear bottle. If you want to try it, make sure you store it in a dark and cool place.
Yeah.
That's it. There's not that much else to say about it. You can't find other THD ascorbate products. I would say, I think for the price and the percentage, it's a good balance. So it's not a bad product to start out at all to try out this ingredient.
For sure. All right.
Next, we have Tula's Bright Star Vitamin C Antioxidant Brightening Moisturizer. So pick the serum and the moisturizer to counteract the 2-point award nominees. This one has a consumer perception study attached to it. It doesn't give percentages, but I'm not as offended. So this is an example where, like, okay, if we don't want to talk about percentages, at least not have it buried at the bottom of the list. Like people don't know what that means anymore. So this one has 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid in the 3rd spot and THD ascorbate in the 4th spot. We don't know how much that is, but in the 3rd and 4th spot, there's a solid chance that it is well above 1%.
Yeah.
So, and 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid, we ran into last time that it doesn't need to be at the 10-15% level anyway.
Yeah.
So we see that as a good sign, and because it's more positioned as a moisturizer, it has other great supporting ingredients like tranexamic acid, ferulic acid, and lactobacillus ferment. So we really see it as a pretty gentle moisturizer that's well balanced, has some good actives.
Yeah, and I would say this, you'll probably start seeing not just like pure vitamin C serums, you'll probably start seeing cocktails in these formulas now.
Sorry. I think
Oh,
I'm just gonna finish. Sorry, guys.
Okay, so yeah, so I think one of the things that we're predicting is going to happen this summer is that now that we're starting to expand out of the vitamin C serum category, you're going to start seeing a lot of these like almost brightening cocktails that are happening. And it sort of feels like a hodgepodge. And so with this is great. Definitely worth a try. I think it just leads us down another product we want to talk about, which is Dr. Dennis Gross. They have a product that's called the Ferulic Plus Retinol Triple Correction Eye Serum. And you'll see that based on the ingredient list, you're not really sure what they're getting at, but they're trying to do something.
Yeah, so Dr. Dennis Gross is a brand that we talk about once in a while because they use a lot of great ingredients.
Yes.
They really do. But all their formulas is like they're putting these ingredients. It's literally like
you're not really sure what the theme is. You know, it's like you are trying to make a bouquet.
Yeah.
You're just not really sure what the angle is. Is it romantic? Is it, you know,
I put a rose in it. I put a lily in it, and then I put a daisy in it.
Yeah. So it's trying to do something. We're just not really sure what.
Yes. So for this particular product, this one isn't new, I should add, but it has centella, which is great, licorice root extract, ferulic acid, retinol, the derivative form of azelaic acid, uva ursi, which is a natural, it's an extract that contains arbutin. They also have arbutin itself. They have Morris elba leaf extract, which is mulberry extract, which actually does have clinical data around. Willow bark, quercetin, caffeine, CoQ10,
salicylic acid, glycolic acid, mandelic acid, panthenol. So again, we're just they even have peptides. So we're kind of like, who are you? What do you want to be? Tell me.
So Dr. Dennis Gross literally takes the approach of, my mom tells me I can be whatever I want to be when I grow up. So they put everything in, but there's certain things about it. So, for example, like retinol. It's an ingredient that's fussy, and things should be formulated around it, but it's not. There's a lot of extracts. So I would say that it's like a very impressive list, but there's, for example, there's so many examples to give here. In the AHA realm, they have glycolic and mandelic, but it's guaranteed that there isn't enough in here to exfoliate per se. So again, what does this do, and what's the star, and what's the goal?
So we talk about we talk about cocktails of actives all the time, and how that can be beneficial than just like singular actives.
Yes.
Sometimes these cocktails can have synergistic effects where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals like 3 or 4.
3,000.
Yeah. But the problem is those cocktails need to be substantiated. You can't just assume that by combining all of these, it's going to be so much better. So, you know, again, like if you're feeling lost and you're feeling overwhelmed with all of these actives, look for testing. Skinceuticals is a great example of testing that can give you a ballpark of what might be, you know, relevant results that you'll see. So yeah, anyways, it can get confusing, and the Dr. Dennis Gross, for me at least, with cocktails of actives, like, it doesn't make sense.
A little much.
Yeah.
And the last category of new launches of antioxidants is sunscreens. And I think this is a continuation of a trend from last summer where you see products like the Strivectin Super C. Supergoop is big in this, but you're starting to see a lot of sunscreens claim vitamin C. But we're going to end that there. I'm not going to go into it because that's the meat for the next episode.
Woohoo! Yeah. So I think I would say I'm pretty excited. I, as a minimalist, love the one and done aspect. But usually you think about sunscreens and you know how expensive testing is going to be. You're like, how much testing are they actually going to do for both fronts, both as an antioxidant and a sunscreen? So we'll see. We'll get into it next episode. And to really wrap up the meat, we've avoided this topic for a very long time. And it's towards the end of the episode, so we will sort of continue avoiding it, which is we keep mentioning the fact that antioxidants are mostly tested as an oral injection. Sorry. As oral supplements. So should we, and there's so many brands out there right now that promotes beauty within. Supplement world is wild. So should we take antioxidant supplements? That is a subject we will firmly avoid and maybe save for the meat of a different episode. But I did want to highlight
one study that I found kind of in this realm. It's an Australian study where they tracked a group of about 500 people. They started with 1,000. I think people passed away and or decided not to call them back because it's 15 years. Where they kind
of significant.
Yeah, it is very long.
It started happened in 15 years, man.
Yeah, they started out in the 90s. So it's all from the same town, so they live in roughly the same environment.
Wow.
The reason why these studies are so difficult is, you ask people to track what they eat and whatnot, and you try to bracket them by their lifestyle choices.
For 15 years, I can't stick to something for 1 month.
That's why about 2/3 of them dropped out. And also there's like, it does call into question how accurate some of these studies are, but they largely divided up the population. They divided the population into people who eat more antioxidants by their diet. So if they eat a lot of fruits, a lot of nuts, a lot of vegetables, versus people who don't, and they kind of track their skin health to see if it makes a difference.
Okay.
It's long. There's a lot of mess in it. Yes.
They're not taking supplements.
It's
not strictly diet.
It's diet.
That's tough.
Yes. But what's really interesting is they did find a difference in people who eat a lot of antioxidants tend to have better skin than those who don't. But this effect isn't very, very well observed until they're over 45. That's when that's when a lot of your natural aging, especially in Australia where there's a lot of sun, this is where your advanced glycation end products come up. This is where a lot of your natural antioxidant defense decides to take a nosedive and things like that. And it's just like it builds up to that moment where you really start to notice a difference. So again, this really highlights that at the end of the day, it's antioxidants a leap of faith, right? It's a long-term game, and yeah.
I have a question. You just elbow.
yes, Mr. Elbow.
All right.
Yes, you in the back.
My question is, do they document things like sunscreen habits?
They did.
Oh, okay.
But again, it's really loose. It's like they try to pick people. So they looked at smoking, sunscreen, and try to pick people that have similar behavior in those categories, so they're less of a factor.
Okay.
But people lie about these things, so I don't really know.
That's true. And then the other thing I think, kind of a takeaway that I have here is not so much like even antioxidant, it's just like eating healthy.
Yes.
Right? Because if you eat healthy, it definitely makes it makes a case for just generally eating healthy and what that can do for you in the long run.
So the reason why I decided not to go into this super hard too is they also looked at things like BMI. Like how if these categories kind of lead to different health levels as well. So they it's a hot mess, and it was a big data problem where they had to exclude these like different criteria. I just took top level, skimmed the top takeaway, which is.
But I think that's really interesting, and I think
valiant attempt too.
Yeah, valiant attempt, and I think it just makes a case of why antioxidant as a category is really hard to test.
Yes,
and you'll never be able to test in real time.
Yes.
Unless you do a 15-year study and watch them like a hawk. So.
And the takeaway is treat yourself kindly, but don't freak out if you're missing out on that chocolate mushroom.
Oh, we should also mention sometimes when we do things like our vitamin C poll, there is a subset of y'all that are like, I don't get it. I use vitamin C. It does nothing for my skin.
Yes.
I don't get it. Why do I even use this? And I just want to honestly say I feel the same way. Like I'm definitely one of those people that don't really see the benefits. It's just as Gloria said, it's just a prayer that in the long run, we'll all age gracefully using it. So,
Yep. Cool. All right.
That's it. That's the meat. All right.
It's a chunky haggis.
Yeah. Y'all should Google haggis. It ain't pretty. All right. And now it's time to break it up. Break it up.
Today's Victoria's turn. I'm almost done with my sake, so I'm very excited.
It's the Animal Fun Fact Corner. And yes, today it is my turn to share. And we've been on this subject of like beauty pageants and whatnot. So I went down this weird rabbit hole and basically found what I would like to consider the fashionistas of the ocean.
Excuse me?
Today we're talking about crabs.
Ah, of course.
And today we're actually going to talk about two types of crabs. The first one is called the carrier crab, aka the urchin crab. Mm-hmm. So the carrier crab is about 5 centimeters in length. Not
Tiny.
very big. Yeah. They are this like brownish pink color, and they can be found in parts of the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. So the most interesting thing is crabs have 8 legs, right? And then so with that, they actually only walk on 2 pairs. Yeah.
What did the other 4 do?
So what the other 2 do is they pick up urchins and they put them on their back, so it looks like they're wearing fat, spiky urchin hats.
Wait, live urchins or dead urchins?
Live urchins.
Wait, the urchin's like, excuse me, Mr. Elba, where are we going?
Mr. Elba. Mr. Elba, help. Yeah, so they carry live urchins on their back as protection from fish predators, because usually they are walking on very like barren ocean floors.
Well, sea urchins are way bigger than 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going to show Gloria this picture of them, but it's noted not to fear about the urchins. They actually don't really mind. Because they get transported and taken to like new grounds to feed. They even have noted that like giant, like much bigger, older urchins also don't mind going on these trips. So like the ratio of like crab to urchin is pretty large, which we'll show here.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, if you saw like 5 of these, you'd be like, that is the best ocean Mardi Gras parade I've ever seen.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's one crab that I consider a fashionista. The other one is called the decorator crab. So the interesting thing is these guys are a lot more well studied. And they're also fashionistas because they're known to take things from their environment and stick them to their back. Oh. So it can be anything from like plants to like sedentary animals. It can be like poisonous organisms. Like they're
not selective.
It's just whatever's in their environment that helps them like blend in. And basically help them ward off and hide from predators. So they've actually done a few experiments with these crabs. They've documented that if you, let's say they took this crab that resides in like a short seaweed environment and they place them in a new environment, overnight they will have completely changed like their crab outfit.
They're just like,
essentially they're like, oh my god,
I got blend in.
Yeah. So, and then another thing that was interesting is they took 3 decorator crabs from the same environment and put them in each of them were placed in different environments. So one was placed in sort of like this coral environment with dense seaweed. And lo and behold, they were just covered in seaweed. There was one that was placed on gravel and shells, filled with sand, had shells on their back.
Oh, so cute.
There was one that even was placed among these, like, they're called long crinoids. They're also called sea lilies. So they look like very flowing, tentacly, like plants. They're living organisms. And they found that the crab had snipped off their limbs and like stuck it to their back and like was just trying to be
nothing to see here.
I am one with the sea lilies. And they had all adapted. So it's really fascinating. And the way they stick it to their shell is they'll break off these pieces. They'll like munch on it a little bit on the end. And then they'll just like rub it on their back. And their back has these like little hooks. So basically they have like Velcro backs that they can just like stick the items to.
Oh my god.
Yeah, really interesting.
I would love a Velcro jacket and I could just stick stuff to it.
Well, it makes me like, the visual was so endearing because these crabs, if you put them in a new environment, must have high stress. They're like looking around being like, oh, it's a fashion
sticking out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So yeah. The other thing is that decorator crabs, they have multiple species. So they're kind of like, they specialize in certain things that they stick to their back. So some are specialized in adhering sponges, others are algae, some are seaweed, like different clans basically.
That's so funny.
So I'm showing Gloria some of the decorator crabs here. So you'll see like seaweed, they're like works of art.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll take like, anemone, like
no one's safe.
yeah, and they're actually beautiful. So
so colorful.
Really, really fascinating. So yeah, the little humble crab.
That's adorable.
Lots of culture and expression too.
That's a good one. I like it.
To hide from predators and not be eaten.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, yay!
That was a good one.
All right, cool.
And to wrap up,
all right, we're gonna finish off with the last few questions with our Q&A.
Yep. First question. So, should we consider sodium ascorbyl phosphate or bakuchiol as an acne ingredient?
Yeah, so they're probably referring to a post we did that looked at sodium ascorbyl phosphate with retinol, right?
Yes.
And that one, along with bakuchiol, which is in reference to our previous episode, where we talked about how they're looking at it for treating acne. And yeah, so it's a great question because originally with sodium ascorbyl phosphate, this vitamin C derivative, it's touted to be considered as like ascorbic acid replacement, would probably start off in a category of an antioxidant, but it has been found to be helpful in reducing sebum. But the issue is, again, because the data is not quite there yet, we would see it as a nice supplement. Definitely should not be replacing any of your main topicals, but can be a nice add-on to your routine.
Yes, and agree with that. And I want to add that between these two, again, I want to highlight that bakuchiol has a lot of data on. It's touted as an irritation-free or not irritating retinol, but it has data on it causing redness. So if you're already on an acne regimen, especially prescription retinoids or other retinoids like adapalene, I would personally recommend going the sodium ascorbyl phosphate route first to supplement.
Such a good point, because I think nothing makes me more stressed than really angry red acne lesions. Yeah. Like I can deal with just acne lesions, but when they're red and they just look so inflamed, I feel like it's like a beacon. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, please, no, do not add to that. Yeah. All right. So question 2. How do you feel about a more Pacific single extract essence? That's touted to have green tea that's been fermented for 100 days. Is it worth it to get and use over regular green tea?
That is a great question. So fermented stuff, fermented ingredients was like a lot of hype in the past couple of years, almost 10 years, I think. A lot of the data behind it is very proprietary and stays with the suppliers.
So true.
So on one hand, I know this product is pretty pricey. I don't remember how expensive it was, but I think having it as a single ingredient, if you want to give these type of ingredients a try, this is the type of product to try it out because it has the high concentration. You're getting the best of it. Is it worth it? I think is a much bigger question. I personally wouldn't spend a ton of money on it. There's some supplier data that suggests that, yes, it's better than regular green tea extract. But how does it bench against, the vitamin C? Oh, I use it. I use it in a heartbeat. And if you go back to our EGCG episode, you'll hear us talk about tea stuff. It's just a little... I think topically it's a little overrated, convoluted. So yeah, that's kind of how we feel about it. We wouldn't really break a bank about over it, but at the same time, if you're like, hey, I really want to try topical tea stuff, I still think this product's about as good as it will get.
I think that's such a good point. Every time people ask us about green tea skincare, it is really the hardest thing is just understanding the sourcing. So the fact that, this is their touted proprietary green tea ingredient, it's probably going to be above average in terms of sourcing, which is, again, very challenging for this category. So kind of agree with you. This might be the best format to trial, but it is very expensive, so you've been warned.
Yes.
But great questions. This really ends episode 4. We hope you enjoyed going on this rant journey with us about antioxidants. don't worry, there's going to be more antioxidant launches coming. We will definitely address those in the episodes to come. And like Gloria had hinted, next week it's going to start looking at sunscreen launches. Woo! The sun is coming out, so that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah.
You know where to find us.
I was just about to say, where can they find us, Gloria?
Come visit us at chemistconfessions.com. You can comment directly on this YouTube video. You can always write to us at info@chemistconfessions.com. It might take us a few days to get back to you.
Also word.
Yes. But yeah.
And yeah, if you want some short content, little science factoids, find us on Instagram at chemist.confessions. And you can DM us as well. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you have more antioxidant questions, let us know. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thank you.